And we were talking about the good things about a power of attorney as opposed to guardianship. And one of them is that if I have a power of attorney naming someone to make decisions for me, I'm going to make all my own decisions for as long as I can. Okay? I'm not giving up anything. I'm not giving up any rights. I'm not giving up the right to make my own decisions medically or financially or whatever it is that I've chosen. It's only when I can't, and someone is going to have to step in. It's either going to be a person I've chosen, it's going to be a person that the law says can do it, and we'll talk about that, or it's going to be the person that the court appoints. But somebody's going to have to step in and make decisions for me. With a power of attorney, I get to choose who that is. And that's a power of that. Another power of that is I can change it anytime I want to. Whereas with a guardianship, only the court can make any changes to it. So if I decide I want a different person as my guardian, I can't just make that decision. I have to go back and tell the court, and the court has to actually make that decision. How do you choose? Who's going to make decisions for you when you can't? What are some qualifications of that person? Trustworthy. I would always put that number one, probably in all caps in red letters. Trust. Sanity? You don't know some of my friends. Okay, so trust. Do you trust that person? Okay, they are going to be standing in your place, making decisions for you. Do you trust them? What else?
Financially responsible.
Financially responsible, especially if they're doing your financial power of attorney. Do you have specific beliefs because of your religion or your culture? Do they understand those? Okay, so a knowledge base. Does that mean they need to have a college education?
No.
They need to be doctors? No. They just need to have an education, a knowledge base of that, or willing to learn. Okay? What are some other qualifications?
Think like you do, or know what you do.
Okay? Think like you do. I don't know if I could find anybody that just wiped off everybody.
Well, they understand and they're willing to do what you would want.
Yes.
Be respectful.
Be respectful. Understand what decision that you would make and then make that decision. Even if it's not the decision they would make. Even if it's not the decision that they would make for you. Okay? And this is where sometimes people will talk about family members and they're like, I just don't know if, let's say I don't want life support. And I'm thinking about, my daughter. And I just don't know if the time comes if she could make that decision.
Right.
The decision that I would make. Okay? Or maybe you don't accept blood products because of your religion. And you're going to choose a friend, and that friend meets all of the qualifications except they don't have the same religious beliefs, and you're not sure they can overcome that when the time comes to make the decision. So, okay, so can they be your voice? Okay? How about willingness? Is that important? So, a lot of states actually require the person you choose to sign the advance directive saying you accept the responsibility. Virginia doesn't require that. When I sit down and meet with folks, before I write someone's name down, I say, have you talked to this individual about doing it? It's not a job you want to give them. Number one, without asking. And number two, without telling them, because how are they going to make decisions that you would make if you haven't even had a conversation with them? So you don't want to get a phone call at 2 in the morning. I'm his what? In a power of a what? Okay, people need to know. Okay?
Is it important to have a and or an or written in there, like these two people are, or this one person, or this other person?
Is that your question?
Yeah, you're pretty close.
Okay, so let's talk about more than one person. And you actually brought up a couple of different points here. I want to cover it quickly, the point of you might have a different person for the financial power of attorney than you do for the healthcare power of attorney. And that's why I keep those documents separate. That's a different skill set, a different knowledge set, and different people you might trust differently. I have two brothers. One I would trust with my life. I don't want him anywhere near my money. Okay? And the other one I would totally trust with my money, but not so much with my life. Okay? So, I would have different ones for those two different documents. Now, as far as having more than one within the same document, there are two different ways of doing that. I can say that I want Dana and Nancy to be my agents, and that means just the person that I've chosen to make decisions for me, to be my agents to make medical decisions for me. If I write it that way, what could be a potential problem? They could disagree. And then what? I don't have a power of attorney anymore. Okay? It can be written that way. I never recommend it. Because you have created the problem you're trying to avoid.
Can you do like an alternate?
Yes.
Like a primary and a secondary?
Yes, primary, secondary, hierarchy, because he's got Dana saying one thing, Nancy saying the other. So you'd only want one person in charge at a time. So I might decide that Dana is the person that's going to make medical decisions for me. If she is not available, or if she and I were in the same car accident and she's unconscious, okay, because a lot of times you'll pick a person that you spend a lot of time with, it's the person you're closest to, then they can go to Nancy. If Nancy's not available, then they can go to Lisa. Okay? And if Lisa's not available, then go to Cynthia. You can have as many as you want going down the line. 7 is the most I've ever put in one. And by the time you get to the 7th one, whew, you want them in priority. So you want, the doctor says, this is the person to call first. If that person's not available for some reason, then you're going to go to the second one.